So they'll be calling you a radical. Post-ignorance radio, Fukushima update, nuclear. We're going to talk a lot of cancer. We're going to start off the show. I was thrilled yesterday with, got to give a real big shout out to the Tennessee Titans today. And the team, the organization, and what they did yesterday. Now this is important. And we'll start this out with, let me get over here. So, we had a non-Hodgkin lymphoma survivor who's an offensive guard score a touchdown in the N.F.L. yesterday. Whole crowd got around him. It was very emotional. You should have seen this team. So, this is a big deal, and we're going to talk a lot about this today. There he is right there. His name's David Quisenberry. He was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's. Now, this is important. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma versus Hodgkin's lymphoma. They're night and day. It's like leukemia, chronic leukemia versus AML. They're night and day. This disease that he had is a killer. And I mean a killer. So, I got to show you this. So you radio land people, I got a hat sent to me from Texas. AEMB 91, the 12th Annual Seminar Atomic Energy Merit Badge. That's right. We're going to talk about the dichotomy of, I'm headed to Vienna, but I want to get all this done first because this is the most important. This is what we're fighting for. This is what I'm fighting for. Why? Because he has the exact same disease as I have. I'm still fighting. So here it is. I've got my camera on showing it. It's thrilling. And the way that the people reacted, the team, and for a coach to be able to do this, a lot of respect for the Titans organization. That coach, a lot of respect. To call that play. And the fans, the players circling around him, pretty impressive. But let's remember. Now somebody says, well, isn't that what Eric Berry had? No, that's not what he had, the Chiefs player. That's absolutely not what he had. Now don't get me wrong, he had lymphoma. I mean, Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is no joke. But this isn't non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. This is an AML leukemia, which are basically the same disease. Multiple myeloma, the same disease. They're killers. The survival rate's so low, it's unbelievable. And so, let's talk about this. So, we need to talk a lot about, do they use Roundup on sports fields? Yeah, absolutely they do. Players are practicing on it. Does it cause leukemia? Absolutely it does. Not my words, Merrill Hodges' words. So, you know, I did some work here. That's Ernie Davis. That's Rachel Carson. So, I'm going to talk some about Ernie Davis and Rachel Carson and John Kennedy in the 60s and how we defeated a lot of the DDT. DDT and Roundup are basically the same mass murder. So, first off, I want to talk before I get lost here is the Minnesota Gophers player, football player, who just died of AML leukemia. So, Nick Conley is his name. Let's not forget, we had a really fantastic Memphis basketball player, big-time basketball player, who just died of leukemia. And so, you know, this is great, but we need to remember the people that passed. So I want to talk about this. I want to dive into this, the cancer. Now, you know that this is the disease I'm fighting. I was given 2 months to live at 11/11. I have a really hardcore radical form of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, AML leukemia, multiple myeloma. I have a brutal form of it. I'll tell you how brutal the form of it I have is. That wristband on my arm is a 1% survival bracelet. My survival, making the 5-year mark, actually moved the type that I have, moved the decimal from 0.006 to 0.008 survival rate. I was so sick with it I couldn't even have a bone marrow transplant. You know, my little nephew's in the fight of his life right now. He has neuroblastoma. He's 3 at Primary Children's. And I mean literally in the fight of his life. You should see him right now. Blisters in his mouth, on his tongue. He's been through all the rounds. The survival rate of that is only 30%. He's a tough kid, you know. So, I want to talk about... That's so fantastic they did this. I was so thrilled. And that's what a credit to him as a person. I mean, not only surviving it, thriving. With an organization that allows him to thrive. So, I shot a little video right here of the great Ernie Davis. And if anybody... That's a great movie, by the way. And there's Rachel Carson. So... Ernie Davis, Heisman Trophy winner, right? One of the greatest athletes in American history. I mean, he was a celebrity in this country. 23 years old, got AML leukemia. Mowed a beast like that down, oh, it killed him. I believe the next year was when Rachel died. Carson, the greatest environmentalist maybe who ever lived. Rachel Carson. Trying to prove that DDT, Silent Spring, caused cancers. Why she's doing it, she gets it. Same story as Kevin Blanch, huh? People used to call me the modern day Rachel Carson in the hospital. I mean, all over when I had to fill big time. Fukushima's going to give you cancer. Roundup's going to give you cancer. I've been fighting Roundup and Monsanto for decades. You know, when I was a kid, I grew up on a farm and a ranch, just like Merrill Hodge. I was exposed to it. No one told me. Just like Merrill Hodge is the exact same thing. Merrill Hodge is a survivor. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. You know, Idaho kid. You know, tailback in the N.F.L. for the Steelers. He got it in 2003. He's a survivor. He says the same thing. You know, I worked on that ranch in Idaho. Well, I did the same thing my whole life. I still live on it. You know, throw some Fukushima on top of it. You know, we ain't got a chance. Back in the day, it was DDT was mass murdering and mowing people down. Rachel Carson proved it. Some freaking freak job the other day says, oh, her work by debunked. By who? Fox News? Huh. These are not genetic diseases. These are not normal diseases. It's exposure. Do sports fields? Well, I know for a fact here in Weber County, they use it on football fields. I know for a fact. I know, do they now? They're still using it. But I want people to understand this. Roundup is still being used to this day, even though it's settled now. Even though they've lost multiple lawsuits and there's some litigation flying around, which the people who are supposed to get the money will never get the money. You know how that things go. You know, I'll never get a dime. You know that. And so, nobody that should get a dime will get a dime. He won't get a dime. You know, by the time Bayer, Monsanto get it done, that leads me into I'm headed to Vienna. I'm headed to Germany. I fly into Munich on Saturday. So, the protests that are going to IAA, you know, Rachel Carson. You don't think one person can make a change? You don't know anything about Frieda Meisenblau? You don't think anything about Rachel Carson? Oh, yeah. She was on her own. Oh, hell yes. You know, she finally... The only reason her book made it to the New York Times, and this is important too, because the New York Times comes out today and says the salmon will be extinct in 20 years. The blob and dams. What did the fish say when he was swimming up the river, kiddies? Damn! That's not what's killing them. They had record returns in 2015. It's not the dams. Ocean conditions? Oh yeah. Warming of the ocean? Oh yeah. The blob? Oh yeah. What's causing that? Let's see, the hottest substance known to man for 3,100 and something days pouring into the Pacific Ocean. So hot, these 3 suns that 60 Minutes is pouring into the Pacific Ocean right there. So hot that the last robot they put in could withstand 27,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It melted. This is how hot this is. Into the ocean all day, every day. Now remember this. Now I want you to get out your HP, Iomega, Weber State, Palm Pilot, Novell, Utah, spreadsheet, that Bill Gates stole. Shift F13, word perfect, calculator, and I want you to do some math with me, kids. Okay, let's do some math. How many nuclear reactors are in the world? 400. There were 450. Take one down, pass it around. We have them down to 410 now, just in the last years. And Kevin Blanch keeps fighting. We keep saying we're going to keep chipping away. Take one down, pass it around. Before Kevin reached into the bag and he slung the stone. And the slung stone the nuclear giant in the head. And he fell to the earth and irradiated the earth for time and all eternity. That's what this is. But Rachel Carson, she took on DDT. She took it on. Cost her life. She got cancer while she was fighting and she died. Well, John Kennedy's young, idealistic wife read her book. Made John Kennedy read a book. Silent Spring. You got in vogue. That's back when we had media. Before they invaded. How did the globalists, the old world order, do this? One by Jetstream, two by cable TV, Operation Foxconn. Look up the board of directors on CNN, Fox News, ABC, NBC, CBS. Look them up. What, they're all British? They all come out of the Rupert Murdoch freaking machine, which is who? Cecil Rhodes? Rhodes Scholar? Oh yeah, they got control of the media. Why do they love nuclear so much? Control and power. Ask the Saudis. Ask Trump. Ask Obama. So she took them on, fought them. She died. But New York Times took it on. Until we have the media, because I can tell you, alternative media, whatever, YouTube, whatever, they just slaughtered it. Until these fanny goats are still waiting around for CNN or Fox News to tell them. Until they do, they can lead them right down the primrose path. So that's what people like me, grassrooters. There aren't many of us. We fight. They killed DDT. They took it down. That was a whole other world then. Now, radiation's good for you. Ask Ann Calder, that dude. You know, I mean, where do they find these freaks? These, you know, actors. Bill O'Reilly. Well, you know, Stephen, it's all an act. If you're an act, what am I? I mean, political theater. These people fall for it. So get out your calculators, your HP, Word Perfect, Novell Shift F13 calculators right here, Steve Chinese Jobs, and let's do some math. By the way, speaking of sports, Damian Lillard, the guy he plays for, he died of the same disease, didn't he? Oh, the elites, they have a pill. Paul Allen died of this. You know, so we go on and on and on. It's man-made. It's Monsanto? Oh, hell yeah. It's nuclear fallout, put them together, which I call plutonium. So, we have down to 410 reactors off 450. My other work, soon to be 397, but you states like New York keep bailing them out, like Utah keep bailing out, and we don't even make them. You know, Ohio, going to bail them out. Pennsylvania, Connecticut did bail them out. New Jersey did bail them out down by the refinery, Springsteen, born in the nuclear USA on Geffen Jot. Remember when he used to show up to the anti-nuclear energy? Now he's on Geffen Jot. These guys own nuclear reactors. Forbes, I mean, they own nuclear reactors. So let's get out your math. Each reactor boils billions of gallons, many, many billions of gallons a day. 365 days a year, non-stop, times 410. Does that equal millions, billions, trillions? It equals Google. So you can do the math. The nuclear reactors on Earth have boiled all the world's water. There's only so much water on Earth. It's all been recycled. All water's been recycled. You do the math. The nuclear energy industry has boiled the world's water multiple times, all of it, over and over. Oh, that doesn't heat it up. It comes out 30 degrees hotter than it one goes in, not to mention the steam that comes out of the top. Put your hand over your stove, put a pan on there, and put your hand over your stove, and that steam, and hold your hand there and see how long till you're in the emergency room.